Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau, Samantha Perry with you here on a very steamy day in Hollandale Beach, but the weather looks great out there. You can see the fast main track. The turf course is good. Unfortunately, with all those rains earlier and throughout the week, we are off the turf in race 2, 6, and 11, but thankfully the stakes, we will run the stakes on the turf in race number 9 today, so that's the good part, but there was a lot of rain earlier this week.
Yeah, there was, which is unfortunate, but it looks like for tomorrow, which is a really good betting card, we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Pending no rain today.
Yeah, pending no rain, and obviously that's a work in progress, but the weather does look good. We hope to see out here strong 11-race card, the Silks Run Race 9, and the return of Big Invasion, who we know so well here down in South Florida, stays on a turf course that will be listed as good. The Rainbow Six, though, has gotten, as we always say, grows very quickly. And look at this, almost at $250,000. You can see the carryover there. They're going to be betting big today, and it'll be a massive pool.
Yes, it will indeed, and it paid well yesterday. The late pick 5 yesterday paid incredible as well, so make sure to get involved.
Yeah, massive pool looming today. There'll be a big pool in the early pick 5 as well on these Saturday cards. You know, $500,000 to $750,000 typically in play. Let's take a look at my ticket now. This is a $48 ticket for me here, couple deep in the opening leg in race number 2. Now that is off the turf. I'm going to stick with the one beyond Stoked. Brian Lynch has got a couple in there. I'm a little against Oscar's World, but I will use that horse in a little bit of a spread. In race number 3, the top pick is the 6, Cool Tricks. In race number 4, that is my long shot today, and that is the 4 X Prompt. No quite idea what we're going to get today, but that's a stab in there. And in race number 5, Echo Lane, I think, is the right single to get me out of this sequence. Going to run on Tapeta for the first time since Rohan Crichton claimed that one there. It's a $48 early pick 5 ticket. We'll get into the opener now. We're going 5 furlongs on the Tapeta. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, and I heard you and Ron talk about that yesterday. You and I talked about it the other day, you know, integrating some 3-year-olds in there now. So pay attention to these kind of spots. There are none of them in this particular race, but it just goes, you know, make sure you take note of that in your handicapping, because I think we both agree at this time of the year they're looking up at their older horses. Key scratch of the one Smokin' Rita is out of this race. With that being said, I always had Beer Bali on top. How about you?
Yep, I did indeed. And you found a stat on Jose Pinchin that was interesting.
Yeah, you can see in the form he's 3 for 5 off the claim. He doesn't do this a lot, but claiming sprints on the Tapeta, he's 4 for 15, 27%. This is a very sharp barn that does not claim horses all that often, and he's 3 for 5 doing it. Unfortunately, a lot of value out of this race is gone with the scratch of the 1. I like the post and the speed from Beer Bali.
Yep, that's going to help a lot, especially when you have Luis Saez aboard. A lot of our jockeys are over at Tampa today, but Luis here, we've got Paco Lopez here, so yeah, they'll be doing some work today.
Yeah, Joel Rosario.
How could I forget?
Can't forget that.
Oh my gosh,
well.
it's your favorite jockey.
Joel Rosario.
Yeah, he's in town.
Here too. Yeah. So True Martini, maybe you get a little value underneath, because obviously the 2 Imperiously will get bet too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is a race to me that if you are playing this early pick 5 seriously, you spread.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, my ticket was 48. I would have liked to have used one more, but that would have gone to 72.
That's great math.
Dollars if I did that. Now, race 2 kicks off the early pick 4. Unfortunately, we are off the turf. The stakes does stay on, though, a little bit later on. 3-year-olds, it's an optional claimer here. Now, these are still going to go at 1 mile and a 16th. I'll tweet out my early pick 4. It's a run back as well. Let's see what you're doing here. Yeah, okay, we're going to still show the replay of Oscar's World. This is your top pick. Brian's got a couple of them in here, Brian Lynch. Let's see Oscar's World at 2 to 5 last time.
This was a horse that ran very professionally. In a Jam has now won 3 in a row and is going in a stakes at Tampa today. The winner of his race 2 starts back. And this horse came back in a big way. I think if you're playing Tampa, that flatters In a Jam for Mark Casse. But more importantly, Oscar's World just was so professional. You saw he got a little hot here, but this is so normal for him. He's like that in his works. And today it's a warm day. So if you see him lathered up like that, don't worry. That's just him.
My strong opinion of fading him today is kind of out the window, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't have him up top at first.
Yeah, I just thought he had to work way too hard at 2-5, getting first run on a couple of horses that were 63 and 18-1. The runner-up is the horse I want, Chad Brown's runner, who's not in here, obviously, and is still a maiden. I was just wanted to fade him now on the Tapeta. I still think he's a must-use, but he's going to be a short price in here. I like Brian's other runner. Again, we're off the turf, so a lot of these opinions kind of go out the window a little bit, but he comes out of that race that has turned out to be very, very good because Abermar won the stakes on Pegasus Day for Safi and Mr. Ramsey.
Yeah, won the Colonel Liam.
Yeah.
This horse was a little headstrong first out. I think Johnny Velasquez was up that day, and he kind of fought him a little bit, and I don't think he's one of those horses that wants to be just kind of wrangled in. And with the rail post, I think just by default, you're going to have to go a little bit more.
Yeah, agree. Your second place horse, Sharif Al-Ri, definitely moves way up. But now, the one thing I will say, Falfurious was just not any good the other day.
No, but Baytown Parfait was.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
So he's a major move up for Cassie and DJ Stable.
Yeah.
He wouldn't shock me if he ends up going off the favorite in this race. I
all.
probably should have moved him up a little bit more. Race 3, we're back on the Tapeta at $170 here. 3-year-old fillies. It's a $35,000 maiden claimer in this spot here. It's a clean field of 6, and you go down to the inside. Mama Kin probably going to try to wire him for Doug Nunn.
Yes, and this is a barn that they're Jersey locals. They bring horses to Tampa. Not a lot of them, but that's where he's based out of. He brought this horse here 2 starts back to try to run on the grass, and it was rained off.
Right.
This horse was just traveling really well. And, no disrespect to the jockey that trainer Doug Nunn has been riding there, because when you're a small stable like him, you got to stay loyal to the people. And he did not do anything wrong with this horse. But my point being is at the top of the lane, you want somebody like Luis Saez on your horse to finish.
Yeah, Lou will put this horse on the lead, going to run on Tapeta with Lasix for the first time, too.
That's a big thing,
a big deal. My top pick is the 6 to the outside, Cool Tricks. There's really nothing going on here. Should be right off your top pick. Dropping for Rohan makes a lot of sense. I want to bring up a stat on the 4, Tell Me Some Lies. Joel Rosario is here. This is a firster for Brian Lynch. It's not a massive sample, but, first-time starters on the all-weather, because a couple of these date back to Turfway when they still had the poly. 0 for 9. We talk about it a lot. Now, there's no great shakes in here. It's darn tough to win 2 turns on debut.
It is. It really is. Things have to set up the right way.
Yeah, they paid 8 for this Oscar Performance filly. The Amarins actually own this, and they own Oscar Performance, so that's a good thing that they dipped in. But this was the kind of horse put a little further down here. Race number 4, back on the Tapeta, 5.5 furlongs here. 4-year-olds and up in this spot. 10K claimers. It's a clean field, a deep field. You are to the 9. Almost to the outside in neophyte for Marty Drexler.
Marty Drexler, we can't say enough of how well his horses are kind of chipping along. Yesterday he had another win. He typically, if he runs something, he usually wins a race, bar like one day this week. So this horse, it's just one of these races where they circle in and out of form, and this one looks like today could be his day.
Yeah, and Marty typically keeps him going pretty good as well, and this is a major, major player. My long shot is the 4, X Prompt. I don't know if they're going to bet him. I don't know if he can run anymore. I'm going to just hope that I can draw a line through the last race. This is Ronald Coy off the claim. A barn that's been doing pretty darn good work around here throughout the championship meet. Big drill on the Tapeta.
That's what I was going to say. That's a big work there. Yeah.
So maybe they bet this horse a little bit. He's 12 on the line. He should be about 60 on the line based on his last race.
Yeah.
But conversely, he could be 4 on the line based on the race 2 back. We have no idea what we'll get today. You've got him in your mix as well. I don't think there's any doubt. I know it's a different surface. They're going to have to catch and beat the 5 English Bob, right?
Yeah, they are. That's just going to be that's the play for him here. We talk about this a lot with the Tapeta. When a horse has a running style, even if they don't like the Tapeta, they don't take to it, they take their speed for a little bit at least.
Oh, yeah. And this horse was flying, going 7 on the main last time. His only Tapeta race was a no-show. It was at 1.70 miles. He wants nothing to do with
it. It was way stronger
way
competition.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants nothing to do with a second or first turn in his face. So English Bob to catch and to beat in here, but we both have him. He's a must-use, just a little further down on the list. Race number 5, one more before the break now. 1.70 on the Tapeta. It's a state-bred optional claimer for the 3-year-olds in this spot. A clean field of 7, and we've got everything right in a row for the exacta. Echo Lane, I think, getting back to the Tapeta, routing today. First time for Rohan on the Tapeta. He's run so well on the turf. He's going to be a problem for these.
Yeah, I agree. This is my best bet today.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I just feel like the turf race was a good race,
Yep.
the one where he broke his maiden. It was, I think, a little too strong for him, a competition last time out. I think that he still ran very well. I'm not going to, but I just think that this spot on the Tapeta, and now he's back with state breds the first time on the Tapeta. This is a big move.
Yeah, exactly. He's my single to end my early pick 5 as well. So we're both picking up the same thing there. Crystal Quest is interesting. Lasix and blinkers blew him way up. Maybe it was turf. Well, he didn't do any running on Tapeta on debut, though.
No, but I'm willing to forgive that race. I think that's just the. I think you can just cross that race out. He drew a tough post. Now his running style, he might have a problem here.
No private thoughts for you? He ran pretty well last time trying Tapeta and 2 turns.
No, not this time around.
Marceau, I thought you didn't like that race. I mean, he's third, but
yeah,
a little against that race.
I am a little against that race, but I think that the Lasix on is going to help.
Yeah, that could be a big move forward, and he's got the speed to be involved.
Yeah.
You know, Paco might get aggressive here and try to
send,
pop this field. Yeah, because I think it's probably there for the taking. All right, 5 down, 6 to go here on the Saturday card. When we come back, Ron's got his Rainbow 6. He'll be joining me for the opener. 225 in that estimated jackpot. A big pool coming. Stay tuned.
And they're off.
Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Easily switch between views. Access the most trusted information in horse racing with DRF All Access past performances. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
And welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian and Samantha with you here on a hot day here in Hollandale Beach. We hope to see you out here. We got a very strong 11-race card. The Silks Run marks the return of Big Invasion in race number 9. That one's on the turf, 2, 6, and 11, unfortunately, off the turf with all the rains. But the one constant is Ron Nicoletti and his Rainbow 6, which kicks off here in race number 6. And as I mentioned, Ronnie's coming up. 48.60. Now, 225 is our estimated jackpot. Boy, they've been sending it in on the weekend, so we'll see what we get today. Big pool regardless. Ronnie's single is in race number 9, and that is, okay, he's singling Big Invasion. It's exciting to see him back here today in the Silks Run. He's just way better than these horses. Does he need a race? Maybe, but he is a real talent on a 40. I love that. 3s and everything but race number 9, and Ronnie will be out here a little later to talk about it a little more in depth. Let's get back to race number 6 now. We are off the turf in race number 6. We still stick at 1 mile and a 16th in this optional claimer for the 3-year-old fillies. The scratches are the 2, 3, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. And if you got them really early, just make sure you're aware. The 3 Agra was a kind of sort of a late one. That was my top pick and a horse that I thought would really move up now on the surface switch. Not the case. We both have the 6-9 exacta here. I think Madam Mischief, no turf, but on the drop in Lasix today.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the half turf, 1/3 tropical turf pick 3.
Geez, that's right. How could I skip that?
TTP3. So this race here, race number 6, we'll get to in just a moment. Race 9, I'm just singling with Big Invasion. I feel like he kind of has to win. And in race number 11, I'm not using your 8. And this race changed so much for me, but I'm not using the 8 here. And I think I'm okay with it on the Tapeta. If he beats, you can add him in. I'm not going to do the math on that, but a $27 ticket for me.
Yeah, my best bet is in race 11. Is not my best bet anymore because it's off the turf, Black Diamond, unfortunately. But Mike Maker's going to leave her in. That could be good enough, but we'll just see. Now, jump the gun a little bit. Let's just start with Madam Mischief for Delgado and AMO Racing here. We can bring up the replay and talk about her a little bit. This is the January 6th race, I believe, right? Yeah. I played her this day.
I did too. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you liked her a lot.
I did.
But that was not where she wanted to be. She kind of hit a wall even before that. And just play this. We're going to play this through and watch the gallop out here. And it's funny, Bob upstairs who does our replays, I gave him the wrong date on accident. But even in her last race, she galloped out like this. And it was funny because Bob pointed this out too. He goes, wow, in her last race, she did the same thing. So it's just that she needs to get herself set up in that position. And now that she's not in stakes company and she gets Lasix on for the first time, she just moves way up.
I thought she even clipped heels for
she
did
half kind of, I agree completely. Yep.
Yeah, I thought she did too. Tapeta, a little bit of an unknown. She wasn't terrible on it in October. That was off a little bit of a layup. Lasix today. She's in a good spot. The 6'9" exact. Amelia is another one dropping. I got to be honest, though. She was not good at all last time, and she was way better than Ozara two-back.
Yep, she was. That was a bit of a head-scratcher here, but I looked I know the all-weather surfaces in Europe are different, but that was a narrow win there in a 13-horse field, so maybe this is actually a good thing for her.
Yeah, she's got an all-weather win at Dundalk to kick off her career back in late September before Jack Sisterson got a hold of her. We bit Mischief. Well, this is all you now, trying Tapeta for the first time.
Well,
turf.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought this is a filly that is going to like the turf quite a bit, and I think it's interesting that they had Paco land here. Maximus Mischief, I will say this, they are kind of just lighter horses, and she should be able to handle the Tapeta, so I left her in.
Yeah, I mean, just a broad kind of umbrella when we're off the turf. A lot of if they're in on the Tapeta, I just always feel like their connections think they're going to handle it. You know?
And she's going to get the 2 turns, which the only time she's gotten 2 turns was at Indiana at the mile, and she won.
Right. And I think that's significant as well. Late pick 5 in race number 7. We're at a mile and an eighth on the Tapeta. We do not run this distance that often. We'll stretch them out a little bit. Fillies and Mares 4 and up in an optional claimer. We'll take a look at Samantha's ticket now on what could be a little bit of a tricky race with, the scratch is monumental here.
It is. We'll get to this race in just a second, but this race worries me. Race 8, also a bit of a problem, but the 2 Lucky Luke on top. Race number 9, they receive Big Invasion. We'll talk about him a little later. Race 10, my top pick is the 8 Chitara, and in race 11, the 4 Devil's Playground. This horse, I had him on top always, but even now on the Tapeta looks even better. 54 the play.
So I hinted at it before we got into it. A massive scratch of the 7 now is out of this race. That is me and my shadow for Cassie. 8-5, I believe, on the morning line. So everything is out of whack here. But, for the sake of wagering, it really makes this race a lot more wide open, I think. I don't even have your pick anywhere. Mint Edition. Ran okay on the Tapeta last time.
Okay.
What do you got?
There is no semblance of speed in this race.
Okay.
This horse at least has a little more than the rest of these. You have a Misael Jaramillo in the saddle.
Yep.
You got to send.
I can see it.
This is the only way this horse is going to get a piece of it is if they send her. That's literally the only way.
I could see it.
Yeah. And it's good to know that Misael Jaramillo's in the irons.
Well, Misael knows how to read a racing form, and he can see that, and he's aggressive anyway. So I can kind of pick up what you're putting down. I kind of feel like Texas Shuffle is the best horse in the race, at least now with the scratch. I don't really know what that means because they're all a tight group. Is going to try Tapeta for the first time, too.
Yeah, it's a question. The Jimmy Toner barn started off the first weekend with 2 wins, and now he just kind of you're hitting the board, but not getting up there.
I think it's a great point, and the fan club starts behind me. You know, I love Jimmy and these Joe Allen horses. Barn's been a little cold, and I think that's a very, very valid point. Lucky Combination, boy, she ran okay on the Tapeta. She's stepping way up off a Tampa maiden turf win.
Yeah, she is. That's all there is to it. Yeah,
maybe Joelle, aboard. Great finishing rider.
Right.
Here, so we'll see what we get. Race number 8 kicks off the late pick 4 here. Take a quick look at my ticket now before we get into this race. 3 deep here. I've got the single. I'm not trying to beat Big Invasion either, although he tries to beat himself sometimes. I will say that. Unifying. I'm going to try to upset the stakes a little bit with Riley Mott and Unifying. And in race 11, I stuck with my top pick, which is Black Diamond, but he is certainly no longer my best bet in that spot. $18 late 4 ticket for me. Let's get back to this race now in the 8th. We're a mile and a 16th on the Tapeta. 3 and up, which have never won 2 for 16 is the tag in here. It's a pretty solid race. You go to the 2, Lucky Luke. Paco getting aboard on a horse coming over from Tampa.
Only has tried the all-weather surface once here, and it wasn't in the last 12 races. It wasn't anything to write home about either, but this is a big drop. I get they were Tampa races, but still, this is just a horse. And maybe it's a little bit of a hunch play. My grandpa's name is Luke.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's Mike Maker, and you get Paco.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good group for the level.
That's a good point.
Of what we are. Asking My Name for Billy Therinos has really gotten going. Well, it's been a couple months now but Billy's firing, dropping in class, a good post, tactical speed.
Yeah.
I think that helps as well. And then certainly King Silvio. The Tapeta race 3 back might lap this field if he could get back to it.
I almost showed the replay this day of King Silvio. I don't know if he was going to go anywhere down the lane, but he was completely shut off. It doesn't say that in the running lines, but he got completely shut off. I was going to show it, but it would just, just take my word for it. I don't know if he was going to go anywhere, though.
Right. And sometimes you have to figure that out for yourself.
Exactly.
And people make too much of that. But regardless, he ran big that day with a figure that would drown this group, and he's coming out of good turf races as well. Really good late pick 3 here on the card. Now, as we mentioned, the 9th, the Silks Run, will stick on the turf. It'll be labeled good, at least right now. It's $100,000 on the line. We go 5 furlongs here. A really solid field in this spot of 8, but they're all looking up at Big Invasion. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, and that kicks off the Coast to Coast pick 5, our 2 stakes races here, and then goes over to Santa Anita. So, I mean, let's take a look at Big Invasion, because this is his Breeders' Cup race, and if you've seen this one, you've seen all of Big Invasion's races.
Well, I think that's absolutely perfectly put, because what happens here? Big Invasion is the best horse in the race. He should have won the race, but he gets in all sorts of trouble, and we could have went back a little more and show you more, and he's flying at the end. I don't want to take anything away from Nobles, but he was best. The problem with Big Invasion, now there's only 7 rivals in here. He always seems to sort of kind of find some trouble. He's his own worst enemy.
Yep.
The other problem is when you employ that kind of running style, that's what happens a lot.
It does. And I was just, you look at the Breeders' Cup race, okay, there were 12 horses. You look at the Woodbine race, there were 13.
Right.
But you look at the Saratoga race, there was only 6.
Yeah.
And he still couldn't get it done. And Thin White Duke, I think, is a New York bred. So
he is for Steve Christ and Company,
it's just, you wonder at what point, the buck has got to stop somewhere with him, but he's the best horse. If he gets clear sailing, he's good to go.
Yeah, and he's 3 for 4 here as well.
Yeah, he likes the track.
He does, and I think that's a testament to his ability, too, because let's just be honest, this is not a turf course he's supposed to relish.
No,
with this
not.
running style.
It's definitely interesting that he's taken a liking to this.
The bottom line is if he doesn't have a trouble comma in his running line today, he will win.
Yeah.
But he's also going to be a very short price. We have other house horses here. We're going to show them to you now. Panther Island and Coppola going at it last time. That ran very, very well. They like it around here. This is a good effort by, I don't know if it's Coppola or Coppola. My buddy's name is Coppola. I know who he could be named after. Regardless, this is a good effort because it's tough to win races from back there.
Yeah, and he turned around like a rocket. I don't know what that was a product of, but Edgar Tyus really rode him perfect this day. Panther Island, there's no question of kind of his tactics, right? Like he just is going to sit that mid flight and go on. Now, did he just stub his toe a little bit last time? I mean, he still ran second. I don't want to take anything away from him, but the Janus was a gutsy win, and maybe that took a little out of him.
You know, Panther Island, too, is going to get first run on both of those horses, and that's a big deal. He's got a cozy post down there. This is a good race. If you are against the favorite, and you're allowed to be against the favorite, there are things you can do in here. Yes, I'm Free is back. He doesn't seem the same, but he is 9 for 19, and you know, you go against Laura Cazares at your own risk here, and sometimes the other Laura Cazares, which happen to be Panther Island, can play well. Yeah. The Hurricane Birdie's a good one today, the grade 3 in race number 10 for the fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. There's a very key scratch in this race. I don't think Lady Radler at 20-1 was going to win this race. Boy, she brought a lot of speed over from Tampa, though. I think that's for certain. You're going to go to the outside and Chitara. If you get this horse home today, you are so much better than I am. You are anyway, but no way.
So they bought this horse at the Keeneland Horses of Racing Age sale, $135,000 for Rapoli. He bought a couple of horses out of that race. This is a big trainer switch, and I'm again, Nacho Correa says he does a very good job. I almost think of him as a little more of a turf guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, maybe an all-weather turf guy.
Well, Didia, right?
Yeah, Didia won the Pegasus World Cup turf. Chitara, though, can close. And if she's got any of it in her anymore, she's 7 years old, and you made a good point. You know, get a graded stakes placing, and then take her to the breeding shed. But you look at the works here, especially at Palm Beach Downs. Now, I did not see these works. There were none on XBTV, and I talked to Mike Welch about it too. He said his guy up there said that the horse has been working good. So I'm gonna just take that at face value, but I am using 3 horses in this race. So
she couldn't win an allowance race at Laurel. She's so slow.
We do talk about Laurel though, and that's a tough track.
Todd's only 11. I thought this was interesting. Todd's only 11% with newcomers to the barn. I listen. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I hope like heck you get 8-1 on this horse. She's like 20-1 in here on fair odds value. If it wasn't, listen, Todd Pletcher's in the Hall of Fame. He's amazing. Yeah, he's got to get a lot of improvement out of her. And I will say this: she was entered at Tampa today. She's going to run here. Yeah. So food for thought there. Now, to your point, though, there is a world of speed in here. Yeah. And that's why I'm going to take a stab with Unifying. Let's show you the Tampa race, the Minarette. She's going to ship over across the state for Riley Mott, who's been doing that back and forth because she was here. She's the 3. Lady Radler, again, out of this race, but she's setting some hellacious splits here. Chi-Town Lady's going to win this race from the back. She's a nice horse for Wesley Ward. Unifying was kind of forced into making first run, I guess, just because Junior was aboard this day, had to go, and Chi-Town Lady's gonna get it done here. She ran very well. We get Joelle today. Yeah,
she's not out of the realm of possibility, and she ran a big number at Tampa too on the sheet. So I was kind of shocked at that whenever I did see it.
Right. So. Spirit Wind and Olivia Darling are side by side. They have one way to go. That is fast and early. They ran together in the Sugar Swirl. We're going to show you that race because that was the last time Spirit Wind was in. Yeah. Olivia Darling has since come back to win the Grade 2 Inside Information. She has a big coup today being outside of Spirit Wind. Spirit Wind just absolutely ran them off their feet here.
Yeah, and only did that off of 2 workouts. Yeah, 2 published workouts.
Thank you.
Yep, she broke like a rocket. She didn't stop. Olivia Darling was closing in big time. This was 6 furlongs. Olivia Darling came back to win at 7. Now we're right in the middle at 6.5, which I like the 6.5 race. I feel like it evens the playing field a little bit more. 7's a bit too much. 6, you can give me a race sometimes. So that was it. I mean, the Inside Information wasn't very impressive from Olivia Darling.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And Spirit Wind is a private purchase sent over to Safi. Yeah. 6.5 with likely Olivia Darling. pressing, chasing from the entire way. I think that's a problem.
It's
for
tough.
her,
It's
right?
going to be tough for you.
Yeah, it's a post position kind of race as well, and I think Olivia Darling gets all the best of it in this spot. It's a really, really good renewal of the Hurricane Birdie. Now, unfortunately, race 11 is off the turf. We'll go $1.70, a mile 70 on the Tapeta, maiden special weight for the 3-year-olds in here. You are on the 4. Another kind of sort of late scratch came in. The 5 test factor, the 10, 11, 13, 14, 15 are out of this race. Test factor was kind of the late one. If you didn't get it, it's probably the biggest scratch on the card because now your horse, Devil's Playground, is loose and controlling in here.
Yeah, it was a huge race on the grass this horse ran. The rails were at 10 feet that day, so I felt like it was a pretty even kind of even the playing field.
Yeah.
But they've gelded this horse since then. He did not want to get passed. I mean, he did everything in his power to not be passed by horses, and at the end of the day, he just did. But that was his first time 2 turns on the turf.
Yeah.
You should expect him to be sharper. He's gelded. Maybe get some of that colt weight off of him. Paco Lopez, you got to go.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me if he's favored in here.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. The scratches in the switch to Tapeta, meaning a different configuration, is a huge help to the 12 who was marooned outside.
Yep, that's a great point. And what do you do from this horse? Because the race 2 starts back, I felt like he ran a lot better than it looked like on
Yeah.
paper. He was like, he made up a lot of ground, and then he came back and just employed the similar tactics, and that, he's one that can just keep going forward. But I don't know, the post is tough.
It is tough.
still.
Let's quickly show the replay of Black Diamond, guys. My top pick. I'm keeping him as my top pick. This was another Lothenbach dispersal sale horse. Sadly, Bob passed away late last year. Okay, here's not a there off you lose, but that's not helping anybody with that kind of break. And you see Bob Silks there that we knew so well. And then here we are. We're rolling pretty good here. And it's just not going to happen. This is a turf race, and this is what happens on the turf. You've got run. You've got nowhere to go behind a wall of horses. Got a little seam here. It's going to get tightened up on again. I'm not going to tell you he was going to win. He was going to be a lot closer than this, though. That's for sure.
Yep.
And he's not my best bet of the day anymore. In Mike Maker, we trust. He's going to leave him on the Tapeta. He's never been over it. Remains to be seen how he's going to run. But I can't wait. I'll tell you this. I can't wait to see this horse get back on turf.
Yes.
Ian Wilkes is a phenomenal trainer. Mike Maker's a turf ace.
Yep.
And I'll be looking forward to that.
Egan should help today, too, I
David
think.
Egan has done a very, very good job
Yeah,
here
yes.
this winter in his first foray. Enjoying the weather here down in South Florida as well. All right, lightning round time. We'll get to it really quickly. Are we leading with beat the
Oh, yeah. Beat the expert.
beat the host, beat the expert? All
Brian
right.
is the expert
All right.
today.
I'm the host. I don't know about the expert. That is me. So you can get over to Silks today, play for $500 if you're here and present, and $50 online, correct?
Yeah, to win, you don't have to bet 500.
No, you don't have to bet. You just have to beat me. And
Saturdays are our worst days
Yeah.
when you're the expert. It's just history.
A lot
It's
of
maths.
pressure. It's just odd how it works.
Yeah.
The TTP pick 3 is
Tropical Tapeta Turf.
There we
pick
go.
3. There you go. 6, 9, and
regardless.
11.
It's a really good
It is.
bet. And Samantha's got the ticket. Those are race 6, 9, and 11. As she said, $3 minimum, 15% takeout. The Coast to Coast is as well going on a little bit later. 2 between Gulfstream and our sister track, Santa Anita. There you can see it there. 2 of our last 3, and then 6, 7, and 8. They've got a good card.
Yeah, big fields there, and here it's our 2 stakes races.
Yep. And then what's this all about? Tomorrow?
Stone Silent.
Well,
Tomorrow.
she's going to have to yell out loud tomorrow to beat Accomplished Girl.
OAG, yeah, that's the girl. Stone
back.
Silent, yep, is going for 3 for 3 now on the Gulfstream Park turf, but Accomplished Girl for Safi Joseph. That line starts behind me of her fan club. But Stone Silent was very impressive this
Well,
day.
you can't take anything away from her. 2 starts for Brian Lynch have been absolutely phenomenal.
Yep.
She's going to meet a whole different rival tomorrow, an Accomplished Girl. I don't have one anymore. Best bet. How about you? You still got one?
Yeah, it's Rowan Crichton's horse,
Oh, yeah.
Echo Lane in the 5th, yeah.
Yeah. Long shot. Do I have? Yeah, I do have a long shot. Race number 4, X Prompt. I don't know if they bet him or not. We'll see. How about you?
Nope, I don't.
You lost yours?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it for us. Pete's upstairs. Ronnie's here for the opener. Samantha will be out and about all day as well. We're happy to have you aboard, and best of luck.